Alrighty. Ugh. Happy early Samhain, bitches. I have decided that this fucking modern day Pied Piper piece of shit isn't going to affect me doing something, low key this weekend. I think that it's really important to just do something. I'm not really a huge fan of Halloween candy, but I'm gonna pick up a bunch and go to town on it. Like, I'm not worried about diabetes at all, and it's gonna be great. But I got invited to go over to Scott Von Rocket and Lexi Vex's house on Saturday. I'm really, really hoping that Black Feathers plays. I know that they are potting with their band and that they still have their practices, so I'm hoping that they'll maybe low-key jam out. That'd be fucking bitching. But we'll see how it goes. Hoping to get something on the grill at least. And I hardly ever drink anymore. I'm really just getting high. It'd be nice to make some progress on this bottle of mono I've got in the freezer and just get fucking tossed and not worry about shit just overnight, So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see, what do I got? I'm gonna keep it really pretty mellow for today. I've got a couple of classes. This criminal justice and criminology class is super bitchin'. The instructor has been with the Portland Police Bureau for at least 20 years, and I think his career in law enforcement's been more than 30. But I'm able to pick his brain a fair amount, and we've talked about community policing and just asking him like what police officers think about specific things, and I'm learning more about the different kinds of law. And then the history of the law as it pertains to, civil rights right now, but it's expanding. So that's pretty exciting. I'm thinking about the possibilities. I may be more valuable in other spots. I'm just gonna let the education evolve me, and I guess I'm just gonna still see where it goes. Just keep marching right along and figure it out from there. But it's been really good. Obviously, at least to me at this point, I don't believe in the trigger happy cop scenario or the prevalence of that nearly as much as I used to. And though I do know that being stopped, interred, or convicted of crimes, or being killed before that even happens to some groups disproportionately more than others. I would hope that goes without saying at this point, but that it's really more complicated than that, and there are a lot of different reasons for why things are procedurally handled differently that have nothing to do with the case itself. So that's been really interesting. It's really opening it up and showing just all the kinds of detail about what the criminal justice system actually really is, where those miscarriages of justice come from, why they happen. It's a lot of it's just really innocuous stuff, kind of trying to make the whole machine run more efficiently. But of course, when things run more efficiently, the quality of whatever the service that you're going to be getting from your government is going to be less. It just is what it is. So that's been cool. I also have this atheism class that pisses me off a fair amount because I'm having to listen to Christians a lot more at a point in my life where I didn't feel like I needed to anymore. I'm still an atheist, but it's complicated, and that's okay. I'm not a religious person. I do have a spiritual life. I do think that, we got to pay attention to the various planes of existence that we can experience. Not discounting one more than the other, but sometimes it's difficult to quantify a lot of stuff, and it's difficult to, there's some things you just can't test. And so I'm kind of hoping as more maybe people who aren't men are able to get into the sciences, maybe we can kind of figure that out, because I feel like there's something about having non-male voices in that room that I think is part of the problem. So I'm looking forward to that, kind of seeing what happens there. I wanted to talk about herd immunity real quick, because I feel like it's something that I hear about every damn day. It's so just shockingly unethical. It's just morally bankrupt of an administration to make decisions about the health of everyone in the country without having a conversation, and without the conversation there is no consent to the process, whether there's a process or not. The process with herd immunity is to do nothing. They knew a bunch of people were going to die, and if they had a problem with it, they would have adjusted, the plan, but they didn't. The one thing is they just couldn't say what it was that they were planning on doing, because people would object, do you think? Your doctor wouldn't do that to you. And I want to remind folks that it wasn't that long ago that adults who were of their own cognizance and able to make other decisions for their lives were not privy to information about their own health. Good example is married women or unmarried women who, maybe live in states where their father has to come in with them to be briefed on their treatment. People who weren't men weren't briefed on their treatment. You could have breast cancer and you could be terminally ill, and they would just keep you comfortable and say, well, you're just not feeling very well. We're just going to keep you comfortable and it'll pass, or something like that. There are a lot of different things they could have straight up lied to you, and they could have told you nothing. They could have told you everything is fine. That is deeply unethical. It's fucking immoral, and doing it to such a large population is really scary. This kind of stuff has happened to other populations in this country before, and I don't want to make light of that. We do need to be aware of the medical abuse that's happened in this country. That we continue to think that it's okay to do that to specific groups, to the extent that we do, is insane. But yeah, we would have to lose, I think the last time I read was, we'd have to lose 8 million people at minimum to coronavirus in order for there to be enough people who had the, up to 3 month, I think they're saying, immunity after contracting it. So how that washes out is that at least 60% of the US population have to have a combination of that 3 month immunity and a vaccine taken care of in order for herd immunity to work. That's too many lives, and we should have been briefed on this. We should have been able to give consent as medical patients, and we shouldn't have really been asked by the president. We should have been asked by some medical authority. In fact, they should have just said fuck to the no, but they didn't. So that really concerns me. I feel like the principle of not asking for consent is really similar to stealthing. If you guys know what stealthing is, it is when someone with a penis, so presumably male but not necessarily, takes off a condom during intercourse without the knowledge of the person that they're fucking, thereby kind of making it look like an accident that it just came off so that they could, the lack of consent really concerns me in a lot of ways, but it feels really gross like that. And for anyone who's ever had that happen to them, that's how mad you should be, at least. And that comes to the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is just being gracious and fucking understanding with each other. I want to tell you something that I've been noticing. I've been noticing that a lot of folks who are specifically pro-Trump or COVID hoaxers, people who don't think that we have any racial issues in this country or don't care, I've been noticing the words and body language that show me that those folks are actually just really ashamed of their ignorance. They know that there's a lot that they don't know about it. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know how to ask for that information, and it's humiliating to ask, especially if you're an adult and you've been alive for a fairly long time. Just trying to figure that out, just Googling stuff, can feel really humiliating. And I have my blind spots too, and there's some things I know nothing about. I'm at a point in my personal evolution where I know where to find most kinds of information, but there are a lot of folks who don't. So whether they are politically or medically ignorant, or they believe in some weird religious stuff that allows them to make everybody else live like them, or whatever it is. I see these people crying for help, trying to ask for information without asking for it. Their body language is sheepish, but you can tell that they're still wanting to engage, but they're picking a fight with themselves, not with you, for the most part. So let's really try to provide information in a way that doesn't imply that we assume that they don't know, but let's also provide facts. I think it's getting to a point where no matter who we are, we don't have to be journalists to be held to a higher standard. And the stakes are getting really high, you know. we can't just say and do whatever we want anymore. And if we give a shit about each other, we need to be a little ginger with each other. We need to be gentle, and we need to be aware that there are lots of reasons why people don't have an optimal level of education, and it's not usually based on the choices that they make. Okay. A lot of it's religious oppression, a lot of it's economic stuff, a lot of it's, not having access to birth control, having a child that you weren't prepared for, and just hoping that you can live long enough to maybe go back to school. So let's not make people feel shit about not knowing enough. We all have I'm not doing this again. We all have our blind spots. So let's make it work, okay? Let's be decent to each other, and because we're gonna have to pick up the pieces no matter what the pieces end up being here in a few days. And let's not be smug about our success, okay? Let's be gracious winners too, and help people navigate what's next in a world without their fearless leader, okay? Because they're gonna need us. We're gonna need each other. Alrighty. That said, let's get drunk and eat some candy, bitches. Do a ritual for me, okay? All right. I love you guys. Be safe. Set up your ride in advance so that you're going to get home safe. All right. Take care. Word up.